everyone, how you doing? That was a little too much.
Yeah. You want to tone it down, please?
Hey everyone. No, it's too little. Hi everyone. My name is Freddie Hernandez, but you may know me as Tavarish, and this is my partner, Mr. Andrew Howell.
You may know me as Andrew Howell.
That's right. I guess. So this is Wrench Every Day, and we talk about cars and wrenching and anything having to do with those two things, and sometimes things not having to do with those two things.
Correct.
Right. So how you doing today, Andrew?
You know what? I'm
You're you know. So
yeah, sure.
Sometimes I feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Yep. You can tell I'm here because I'm not all there.
That sounds like something a
grandpa would say.
Grandpa would say.
I totally stole that from a grandpa from a long time ago at an old job that I used to have.
Awesome. So actually, speaking of jobs, we have a question. And that question comes to us from Mr. Jason Lee on email. So he says, prior to working on your first car, I guess this is directed towards me, prior to working on your first car and becoming an expert on wrenching every day. I am not an expert. If anybody calls me an expert on anything, please check their qualifications, because that is not a true thing. Don't, if I'm not an authority on anything, other than maybe, no, not even that. No. So I said, what kind of jobs did you have? So I'll start with you, because I think your job history is a little more varied than mine, and I think it's a little more interesting as well.
Yeah, how long do we have? Like, where are we starting?
Listen, we have all the time in the world except for...
We don't.
Yeah, let's keep it to the first 90 minutes. How about that? Can you do a quick 90 minutes? A tight 90 minutes?
I mean, I could probably do a little quicker than that. Most of the jobs I've had aren't super...
Okay. All right. So
interesting.
So let's hear it. What started your job career? Your career in jobs.
Well, when I was a young boy, my first job was at a restaurant called Chick-fil-A.
Oh, awesome.
Yep.
Great. So, what did you do there?
I worked at Chick-fil-A, so I did the Chick-fil-A things.
What is Chick-fil-A things? It's like that Family Guy joke. It's like, I can do moose stuff. It's like, what's moose stuff? Like, I don't know. I could go graze over there.
Register and drive-through primarily were my specialties. Yep.
Cool. So you're a cashier.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Did you ever have to work with the food? Were you a fry cook or something like that?
No.
No. Okay.
I was too personable and too good looking.
Oh, okay. Is that what they told you, or did you just find that out after?
So after Chick-fil-A, I worked at a video game store.
Okay, cool.
It was called EB Games.
EB Games.
Yeah, which then became GameStop.
Cool. All right. So, and what were you doing there? Obviously not frying chicken, right?
Nope, I was frying video games.
Frying video games.
Deep fried video games.
I swear that sounds like a millennial hangout in New York.
Can we start a band called Deep Fried Video Games?
I think maybe. I mean, what kind of music would it be?
I mean, probably similar to Mini Cooper Sidecar.
Mini Cooper Sidecar. I think Mini Cooper Sidecar sounds awesome. Deep Fried Video Games sounds like a horrible band.
You're right. It's probably terrible.
It sounds like a 14-year-old's cry for help.
How about we start with jobs that involved vehicles?
Listen, man, you make the rules. I just read the emails. That's my designation.
But if I make rules, I want $7 million.
Okay. Well,
and I want to listen to a finger-snapping ragtime dandy. So the first automotive-related job that I had, let me think back here for a second. Pizza delivery, I guess, kind of pizza delivery. I worked at a vinyl wrap shop in Jacksonville.
Okay.
It was called Identity Design.
Okay. So the vinyl wrapping, when was this then?
Oh, man. This was in 2013, 2013.
So that was... Vinyl wrapping is relatively new.
Yeah. So Identity Design, they really... they kind of played a big role in the... moving from like doing plumber and garden trucks to doing custom work.
Right.
So for instance, like we did Lambo Murcielago LP 560, right? LP 560.
No, that was LP
7.
That was 640.
640.
Yeah,
sure. Numbers. We did one of those
640 and 670. And
I think this was a 640.
Yeah. So the 670 is super rare, so it probably wasn't that. 640s were probably the most.
We had a guy ship his over from Singapore, which owning any car in Singapore is insane. So if he has a Mercy in Singapore, it's saying something about his wealth. He shipped it over to us and we wrapped it in chrome.
Okay, cool.
Did like a CLS AMG in chrome, a couple other cool cars.
I hate. I don't hate the people that do this. I hate the mentality, and I might say that I hate the people that do this. Wrapping a car in chrome is horrible. Do not wrap a car in chrome. The reason why is I don't care about the aesthetic. The aesthetic is fine if you like to picture it and whatever.
It's a distraction to other motorists.
It's not even distraction to other motorists. It's like, wow, that guy's styling on me. Wow.
Well, shoot, I just got dunked on.
Is that Jordan?
Why Jane's crying? Because it just got dunked on. It's like one of my favorite songs of all time.
No. The reason why is because if you live in any place where you'd likely own a Lamborghini, like California or Texas or Florida or whatever, there's probably going to be some sun. And sun and chrome introduces a lot of glare to a lot of people.
That's what I meant by distraction driving.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad.
I've seen, since we live in the land of bath salts, I've seen some of these, they call them donks.
Yeah. Oh, dude, donks are legit.
Donks are pretty cool. I've yet to drive in one.
Same.
I've loved to see how crappy the ride quality is.
Oh, absolutely.
It has to be
in a poorly done donk. Yes.
I want to see the best donk in the world. I want to see how that thing rides because it has to ride like absolute crap. Okay.
Oh, we're still talking about cars.
Yeah, that can't defy the laws of physics. You still have a 30-inch wheel and no rubber at all. Like it's just you're riding on a wagon wheel. So all the bumps are just going directly into suspension, and suspension likely doesn't have that much give in it. So you have no sidewall, you have these crazy wheels, and you're overstressing components. I love the 30-inch wheels, and then they have stock brakes, which are like,
yeah, absolutely,
like 10-inch, and maybe drums in the back. It's insane.
Yeah.
But I've seen a donk. It's probably a Crown Vic or a Grand Marquis or whatever, and it had chrome. It was chromed out, bling bling, chromed out ching,
bling blang blah blah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it was like the sun was out that day, and it was blinding.
We had a customer of ours that had it was a convertible, like an 03 or 04 convertible V6 Mustang, wrapped in chrome.
That's the best kind of Mustang.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that what is that? A Cologne V6, 4-liter. It made like 210 screaming horsepower.
Anyway, so you know what? Okay, so I have driven a donk.
Okay.
And it was awful because it was this Mustang.
Really? Come on, really? Donk? Bad?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really bad. It was terrifying. Driving it on 95 up to Jacksonville was I vehemently opposed driving this car, but I was the only one that I should have just said no.
Like, come to think about it, that was a real liability. Why did I do that? I wasn't getting paid anymore.
Such a pushover.
Hey, Andrew, you drive the super sketchy car? All right. Okay.
Whatever. I think someone offered to buy me food, which I was like, yeah, okay.
Listen, free food is free food.
Yeah, seriously. The way to my heart is through my arteries.
It's that joke. Like, listen, I'm not gay, but $20 is $20.
Hey, you know what? You know what? So that was terrifying. But anyway, so at Identity Design, I was there for a while. I was their graphic design guy,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and then I ended up doing like social media, photo, video, and that's kind of how I rolled into what I do now.
Okay.
That was Genesis.
All right. So you did social media at the Identity Design vinyl wrap place.
Yes.
Cool. A lot of people don't know that vinyl wrapping. It is relatively recent, like we mentioned, but vinyl wrapping in its infancy, it's pretty bad. Like, because nobody knew how to do things necessarily, so they use a lot of like X-Acto knives, and when people peeled stuff back, like they were applying a lot of the same techniques that they would use on vans, and nobody cared about vans because you don't really care about the paint job on a work van.
So with our clientele and the cars we were working on, we didn't have a choice. We didn't use those methods. And actually the installers that we had were literally, to this day, some of the best in the country. Hands down. Hands down.
Yeah, so the people that did it right from the beginning, They are real. They are very good.
Masters.
Yeah, a guy I know, Matthew Walensky. He has a shop that actually is one of the best in the country. It's called Phenomenal Vinyl in New York.
Yep.
And he actually did my car, my Lamborghini. Well, it's weird because he was on the Maxima forums.
Okay.
It's this weird
Small
circle of life thing. So he was on the Maxima forums, and then he started this vinyl company called Phenomenal Vinyl, and he just did it. He started in his garage, and then he got a shop and whatever.
Yep.
And he ended up doing my Lambo before it was mine. He did it in like a camo wrap. I actually featured it in one of my videos, and it was pretty cool. It was basically when he was still up and coming, he was really about his craft, and he would go to these vinyl wrapping conventions and learn like the latest skills, because there's like always they're always changing. It's really quite interesting.
So in the vinyl wrap community, amongst these shops, there's a network of shops called Paint is Dead.
Yeah. So Paint is Dead is they also hashtag that on my car when they made a video about it.
Identity Design created the Paint is Dead network.
Ooh.
That is the genesis of Paint is Dead.
Okay.
Yeah. To see that niche corner of the automotive custom market, that was really cool to kind of watch that develop.
Sure.
That was really neat.
They must have made a ton of money then.
Yeah, they still do very well.
Yeah.
They still do great work.
It's weird how much vinyl wrapping has ramped up as far as price, because I remember that it used to be a real cheap alternative to paint.
It was never super cheap.
It was never super cheap, but it was more affordable. Now it's like a paint job and a vinyl wrap basically cost the same amount of money.
It depends on installers, materials used, and that sort of thing.
If you want to get a good one, right?
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of to have a $10,000 vinyl wrap.
Oh yeah, very easily. And when you get to the chrome stuff, it goes even higher.
Right. So
but the material alone is very expensive.
Of course, and but I mean the insulation, all that stuff. So but then you have the added bonus of this car is likely leased. So if I have a Lamborghini Aventador and I want to make it the craziest Aventador ever, but I don't want to lose my warranty and I don't want to lose my lease and all that stuff, then you can just go do a wrap.
And the cool thing is, when the wrap is on the car, it's protecting the paint.
Yes. Well, sort of. Hopefully.
Because if it's a quality wrap that has quality adhesive.
Because some people have put bad wraps on it and then like the glue just destroys the paint.
Yeah. I have never actually seen that.
I haven't either, but apparently Brian Salomon had a problem with one of his first wraps on his first Aventador.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he said he had a chrome wrap. It was like 3M, or I don't know if it was a bad batch or something, but he said it started turning black and he had some clear coat coming off.
Oh, wow.
Again, I don't know how much of this is, he's a lawyer, if he's playing it up or something just to get more. I don't know. I have no idea, but this is just what I've seen. So yeah, that's pretty cool about vinyl. So what did you do after that vinyl shop?
So my next automotive, or I guess motorsport related job after Identity to Design would have been, let me run through the gamut here. Yes, it would have been a place called Autobahn Indoor Speedway up in Jacksonville. It's an indoor go-kart track. I was their media director for just over a year.
Cool. Yeah, I think you sent me a little snippet of what you did.
Yeah, a couple videos here and there. That was
you
really
did some
fun
voiceover
job.
work, and it sounded like a trailer, like a movie trailer.
Yeah, that was the point.
In a world.
So that was really fun. I started there as just a guy in the pit, just pushing carts.
Right.
And then just kind of tried to make myself invaluable, and just kind of moved on from there. That was a really cool job. That was fun.
It's awesome when you have people just kind of give you free reign to do, like, hey, we want to get to this place, do your thing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That was neat. And every day after work, just hitting the track. In go-karts that, these electric carts, they would go 45, 50 miles an hour, which indoors that's fast.
Go-karting is insane. Like, you learn a lot about car control from go-karting because you have it's so small and you have to react quickly.
Yes.
You have to know what's going on. and you see real results
Big time.
when, like, let's say you scrub off a little bit of speed, like you skid more, and you're like, oh crap, you can see that. Oh, that cost me a second here.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And then when you're just smooth, like, wow, this makes a lot of sense.
The timing system, the lap timing system they have that they use at all of their locations is very accurate, very advanced. So it's like out to 3 decimal points of accuracy. So it was really cool to kind of see, and like they give you printouts after every race.
Yeah.
I have a couple of printouts when I first started versus when I left.
Right.
I think when I left, we had 500,000 or 600,000 individual racers.
Wow.
And I was like number 70 out of all those.
Ooh.
So I wasn't the fastest, obviously. Like basically everyone else that worked there was faster than I was, but still, like,
you could probably put that on a resume. Like, do you know who you're talking to? Like, you're talking to number 70 out of 500,000.
yeah, right. I'm sure that I have lost a few places since then. It's been a couple of years, but
it's like Chris from BS for Build. He said, if you could always say, like, do you have any idea who you're talking to? I am the 419th biggest automotive YouTuber.
But Autobahn, that was a lot of fun. That really, I feel like I made the most progress as far as honing my my media like repertoire of skills.
Right.
Kind of learning and having a better understanding of branding and that sort of thing. I really learned a lot there. And
it's great when you can apply it to an actual business and you can see what the results in real time.
Big time. And like, I guess my little claim to fame there is that I got to direct and make a video with Travis Pastrana while I was there. So that was pretty
awesome.
Cool. That was pretty neat. We raced our go-karts through the Jags Stadium in Jacksonville.
Oh,
yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
That's awesome. You ever have one of these experiences and you're like, nobody gets to do this?
Yeah.
Like, nobody gets to do this.
Like we were hanging out with Travis Pastrana and the Nitro Circuits crew and like, doing all this really crazy stuff. And I stopped. I'm like, I'm on the clock right now.
Like you're getting paid to do this.
Yeah, it was really neat.
Yeah.
And then after Autobahn comes Tesla.
Ooh.
Yes. Ooh. So I was there for, I guess, close to 2 years.
So when you get hired by Tesla, do you have a letter, like a handwritten letter from Elon Musk saying, "Thanks for joining the Tesla family. Now here's a secret handshake"?
No. Running into Elon is almost impossible.
Not if you're at South by Southwest. Apparently, it's super easy.
Yeah, I guess. That was. I feel like we could almost do an entire podcast on that alone.
Yeah,
on the whole Tesla thing. And actually, next week, actually this week, it'll be this week. I will have been in the past on a podcast called For Geek's Sake. As a good friend of mine, Liz, is one of the hosts on that show, and we will have been talking about electric vehicles, self-driving cars.
Oh, nice.
So I'll be sure to link to that podcast in the description below.
Cool. Yeah. No problem. So what is that like? Is that it? If it's about geeks, then I guess nerd culture, that sort of thing, video games, movies.
Big time. Yeah. So it'll be
Tech.
a lot of fun. Tech nerds, like it spans from like Game of Thrones to D&D to Tesla to whatever. It's just all nerd stuff. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's my people.
Awesome. So at Tesla, what you said in a previous podcast that you were basically like a human.
Yes, I was.
You were a human.
I was a human Google.
You're a human Google.
Yes. So I basically stood in a really pretty showroom, and people would walk in, and I would engage with them and just answer any and all questions. And if they wanted to buy a car, I could help them do that too.
I remember the first Tesla I ever sat in was when I went to Washington D.C. For like a day trip with my wife. And I went to the Tesla store and I sat in one, and then I'm like talking to the representative, and I'm like, well, I'm thinking about, I have an S-Class now, but I just want to see what my S-Class I bought for $3,000. There was no way I'm going to buy a $120,000 Tesla.
Right.
Just for, but it's like, well, I have an S-Class now. I just want to see, what these things are like. And, how much power does this thing have? Ask these stupid questions.
You were.
I am broke. Like, don't ever.
Yeah.
There should be. I think for salespeople, there should be a little it could be like a VR thing where they just put on like an Oculus Rift and they scan a person and then they're like, here's their net worth. And like, it doesn't have to be a exact number. It can be like on a Yelp system, like $1 sign, $2 signs.
I'll tell you right now that is not too far off from what we did at Tesla already.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not going to give it away because I don't want to get in trouble or whatever. I don't know if they could take legal action or whatever. Anyway, so
I don't think Tesla's ever taken legal action against anybody. That is not true.
That's the joke. So yeah, that was basically my life for 2 years, was just answering questions. And sometimes I would cover shifts at our retail center, which is like where you took delivery of your car or got your car serviced, that sort of thing.
Sure.
So I mean, I definitely learned a lot, and I'm definitely grateful for my experience there. It just turned out to be a little more disappointing than I was hoping.
Sure. So I guess in every sales position, you have to size people up. Sometimes it can get to the point where you're a Macy's salesperson and you're like, I'm sorry, sir, are you lost? You know, that's like one spectrum because you can't, it's not like if you're like a Ferrari dealer and Ferrari's a bad example because they treat everybody like crap. Let's say you're a McLaren dealer. You can't let like homeless people drive your cars, you know?
Right.
So even though, who knows, that could be a thing. But I'm kind of curious to know what discerning, like, what did you look for when, like, if you look at somebody and say, oh, they're probably going to buy a car, or I'm just wasting my time.
It's profiling.
Of course it's profiling.
Yeah. You look at, so, and I'm not really into this sort of stuff. We had to look at like what bags they were carrying from other stores in the mall, like where they've been purchasing. Good identifiers would be like watches, shoes,
of course,
jewelry, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a watch guy, so like.
But what happens when they are a successful rapper that has their own identity? Say a Post Malone. If Post Malone walked into Tesla, like they would that would screw up the system.
I have no idea who Post Malone is.
You should look it up. Post Malone is pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. It's pretty good. Shout out to Post Malone. I know you watch this podcast. Please.
Shout out to Post Malone. I don't know who you are. Cool.
You should Google him. He's a good dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I'm gonna get a lot of hate in the comments for that, I guess.
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think people in the comments know who Post Malone is.
So yeah, that it was cool. One of my favorite interactions ever when I worked for Tesla. Had a guy come in, we started talking about cars and blah 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 blah. We kind of leveled on a few things, cars we like. We're into similar styles of cars and brands and yada yada. And we get to the point where we're talking about the Tesla, and he's like, I mean, these cars are really cool, but I think they're a gimmick.
Right.
And I'm like, I mean, they could be a gimmick. Obviously, I think that if not Tesla, some other company is going to make this the standard.
I think they definitely have gimmicks.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that are clearly gimmick, like that light show for Wizards of Winter. That's a gimmick.
Yeah, it is.
Ludicrous mode is a gimmick.
I mean, ludicrous mode is literally just a launch control.
I know, but you can only use it like twice, and it's
you can use it multiple times.
No. What I'm saying is, there's a procedure to do it. Like you have to basically sign a waiver saying, yes, I want to do it, or no, I want my mommy.
So that's Ludicrous Plus.
Okay, it's Ludicrous Plus.
Ludicrous, which is just the standard.
Where's I want the platinum one. I want the one where the wheels literally burst into flames, and then it drives me to Elon's house where he personally shakes my hand and hands me $100.
I think that's called delusion, arson, and stalking. That's
delusional mode.
Yeah, delusional stalking arsonist.
Yes.
So we get to talking about these cars, and he's like, these are gimmick, but they don't have transmissions and they don't make noises and blah blah. I'm like, I level with you 100%. Like I'm also like a petrol head, blah blah blah. He's like, yeah, it's cool, but I'm gonna stick with my manual shift. I mean, first of all, who says manual shift when you're referring?
Okay, so that's like a rich guy, poor guy thing, because either he doesn't know that automatics are a thing.
Automatic shift?
Yeah, or he is so rich that he is removed from reality so that his vernacular is like,
or
middle class doesn't really say stuff like this.
sometimes they do. It's anyone who talks about cars, and I feel like they're trying to sound like they know more than they actually do.
Was he an older gentleman?
No, he was not. He was my age.
He was your age.
Yeah, a little younger, probably early mid-20s.
Mid-20s. I like a manual shift.
Yeah. So here's where it gets good.
I just threw a wrench in my whole situation.
I want to stick with my manual shift. And I'm like, oh, cool. What do you drive? 2005 Kia Spectra.
That is a great. So I can see how getting a $100,000 Tesla would be a lateral move for him.
Oh yeah, big time.
It might even be a downgrade from a Kia Spectra. I mean, that thing had
Doors.
And wheels.
Yes, and a windshield.
Sometimes it had a windshield.
Yeah.
One of my friends had a Kia Spectra, and
Didn't have a windshield?
no, it had a windshield.
Okay.
Yeah, this was the deluxe model. They had these things. Come on.
With real glass?
Yeah. Man, that thing was a pile of junk. Like, if you want to talk about like actual junky cars,
Oh yeah.
first generation Kias were pretty bad.
And same with Hyundais.
And my mom had a first generation Kia Sportage, and that thing was like by the end of its life, it was borderline. It was a death trap. It was absolutely a death trap.
By the end of its life, you mean 10,000 miles and 3 months in?
No. She had it for 10 years.
Wow, why?
She had it for 10 years because she got it. Like those cars, I think it was at a point where you can get a car. They had a promotion like you can get a car. You have a job. You have $99. You can buy a Kia, and they got a Kia.
We want to see you in a Kia.
That's right.
That makes me want to die.
Yeah. So she got that car, and it was fine. It was just super bare bones. I mean, it might not even had a tape player or
It
something.
was super bare bones, and it wasn't even a full skeleton.
Right.
There were some missing bones.
The good thing about it is those actually did not have Kia engines. They had Mazda engines in them. So they had dual overhead cam engines that were pretty decently reliable.
Just terrible electrics.
The electrics were fine. The plastic everything was horrible.
Yeah.
The suspension was horrible.
Plastic suspension.
Yeah, the plastic suspension.
Yep.
It's a weird choice that they use plastic for the suspension, but whatever. I'm here for it. No, they had this car was. It had this weird thing where the sway bar bushing would
Plastic sway bars.
It's firing on all cylinders.
Plastic fire, plastic cylinders.
That's right. All this plastic in these modern cars. I want my manual shift.
Basically, your mom was driving a Lego.
I think a Lego would have had a little better crash protection. But
you want to test it out?
Let's do that thing.
Porsche Technics.
Yes. She actually bought a newer Kia in 2011. She bought a Kia, not the Kia Sportage, which was like light years ahead.
Yeah,
now this was an
absolutely.
actual good car.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Yeah, I like my Kia." And then like I actually junked it because I think the timing belt broke or something. This thing was never maintained. But this Kia now, I mean, I'm pretty sure she also doesn't maintain it to the best of her ability.
Okay.
But these things go forever. And if this thing breaks, like, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. But it's a pretty good car. It's not great on gas just because it's sort of heavy and it's underpowered for what it is.
Didn't they make it? They made a turbo version of the Sportage, right?
Probably, but that wasn't hers. I don't think that they made a turbo version because she's 2011. I don't think they made it
Back then yeah. You know what I actually really wouldn't mind owning would be the Optima Turbo.
That is nice. That is a good car.
2-liter turbo with like 275 horsepower.
Yeah,
like,
that is a pretty good Kia.
And again, diamond quilted leather. That's it. Sold.
So diamond quilted leather has been making a comeback in a lot of cars.
And I am here for it.
Yeah, but this was a thing for a long time, and now I think there could be a few trends that a lot of car companies are going towards. And in the last couple of years, I've seen a lot of going away from the woods, like the burl woods.
Yep.
And they're going more towards maybe a matte wood or a something like a matte finish. It looks a little more upscale.
Like brushed metal, or like
Yeah.
like even in the Tesla, there was a carbon fiber option. It was matte carbon fiber.
Yeah, so sometimes they fail. I mean, the Lamborghini Huracan has this forged carbon in the back.
I love it so much.
So a lot of Lambo owners think that it just looks like dirty plastic.
Okay, well,
and it does.
It doesn't.
It does.
It looks like forged carbon.
No. It looks like dirty plastic on the Huracan. No. Huracan Performante, however, they gloss it, so it looks way better. So, and they put it on the inside, and it looks interesting. It has like all these dimensions or whatever. But the Huracan, it's just matte, and it literally looks like dirty plastic, even though it's forged carbon.
I disagree.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, we can agree to disagree. But what after Tesla or what did?
Yeah.
what did you
So
have?
after Tesla is where I am now, and that is Injuku Racing.
Okay. And Injuku is just a speed shop. They have parts and
So we're a parts distributor, and we specialize in parts for Nissan S and Z chassis cars.
Okay, so
S13, S14, and
that's the 240 and the
350 and 370Zs.
Okay. All right, cool. So that's pretty awesome. It's a good little job repertoire.
Yeah.
My jobs are, let's see in order. I worked at Daffy's, which was a outlet clothing store that is no longer around. They used to have a bunch of stores across the country, or at least on the East Coast, and I think they all went bankrupt.
I don't even know if we had those down here.
Probably not, but there was a big store in New York, and it was kind of a big deal when that thing went. They had it in Times Square. But I worked at the local mall. That's how I got my first car. And then I worked at, let's see, I worked as a medical biller for a dental. Yeah. My mom works in it was pure nepotism. My mom worked, or she still works for a health center. And she's a director of one of the not portions, but one of the departments, right?
Okay.
So, and I worked at a different branch for a different department. I was a dental biller, and that was my job. And then I worked with my father, who has an insurance company, insurance agency, rather. And then I basically did my own thing for a while. I worked with a friend who had a scooter company that rented scooters like Vespas and stuff to people in New York. We used to do deliveries and do the branding and did the websites and all that stuff. And then I started my own thing, which was called APITA Online. That means Automotive Performance Index Database and Answers. And it never really took off. But I started doing sort of, it was just, I would modify and repair cars in my parents' driveway. So I was like basically a mechanic, but I did modifications and stuff. I did mostly on the Nissan forums. So kind of like a front yard Injuku racing. So I did work on the Nissan Maxima, Infinities, G35s, that sort of thing. Sometimes other cars. I think some Lexus people came by too when I got a Lexus. But for the most part, it was just in my parents' driveway. And I would do stuff like engine swaps for $600 and
Dang.
and whatever. And this was big money for me. You know, like $600. Like you can work a week and get $600. Like, wow, that's crazy. What am I going to do with all that money? Like, no, I'm rich. I mean, that's it. And then you get it, and then like a week later, like, where'd it go? Where the hell the money?
Where the money at?
Where the money at? Yeah. So I quickly found out that was kind of a thankless job. And also I'm taking on a lot of liability. It wasn't my house. And, if something happened to me or something happened to somebody else's car,
Huge
plus
liability. Yeah.
Yeah. Plus I'm working in the front yard, so if something, not in the front yard, but like in the driveway, and if there was rain or something like that, or let's say the city came by and the city said, "Oh, you're not supposed to be working on." I actually have had that happen where the city came by and said, "You're not supposed to be working on other people's cars," even though like this is the most. there's plenty of problems where in that city, right? There's lots of issues. Like you have crimes to solve. Don't give me this crap. So that ended, and I then started doing online stuff. So I wrote about all the cars that I would buy and flip. I would buy them, kind of modify them, fix them up, and then flip them. And then I put them on my site, which is Apita Online. And then I used that to, I believe I talked about this in a previous podcast, but I used that to get on Jalopnik.
Yep.
And Jalopnik, I wrote there for a few years. And then I started my YouTube channel, kind of screwing around with Jalopnik as well, and kind of doing a kind of a tandem thing. And now I am doing just YouTube. And in the between there, I have owned websites, which have gone pretty well. And I think you need to have some sort of other mode of income when you're trying to make it on your own as far as a journalist or YouTuber or something like that.
Right.
So I did have some websites that I ran and then I sold, before I made the decision to go full time on YouTube. So now we're in the present, and all I have is YouTube, and that's all I'm doing. But I also have kind of irons in the fire, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you say. So
It's got some irons in the fur.
exactly. So I not only have my Tavarish channel, but we have this, and there's a lot of other things that we can do. I know that we're going to try to do more stuff together and whatnot. So that's pretty much it. That's my jobs. I'm not sure if that's entirely exciting, but that's how Tavarish kind of became Tavarish. And you have a lot more excitement in your job repertoire than I do. Yeah.
Like I've had other really cool jobs that didn't have anything to do with cars, but still were cool. Like I was a photographer at Discovery Cove for a while, so I hung out with dolphins all day. Like that was pretty neat. I feel kind of. I mean, I don't want to end on a bad note, but I feel kind of bad for those things. Like those. Oh, don't! Oh my gosh, they're living the lap of luxury over there, man.
I don't know, man.
I do. I worked there for
but like SeaWorld and stuff like they medicate those things. All right, I'm not gonna get into a rant here about ethical treatment of
if you
maritime.
If you watched Blackfish, it's mostly fake. True story. It's mostly fake.
Sure, but I mean, there's other. Like I've listened to podcasts about people that work there, and it's like people that actually work with the animals, and it's nuts. I don't know. I do know that when I went to SeaWorld, they had a really good show, but like nobody was getting in the water with those killer whales.
Yeah, no.
So like, yeah, that's
they made some changes over there.
It's like I ain't getting in that water.
I ain't getting that water. I ain't getting that big toilet. I used to work at a high-end electronics store. Like, true story, I sold 3 pair of Dr. Dre Beats headphones to George Lucas.
What?
Yeah.
That could be your entire resume.
It was on Black Friday, too.
I sold useless headphones to one of the most iconic.
Sold a pair of binoculars to the drummer from Tool.
Whoa.
Shaq was one of our regulars.
That's Danny Carey?
Yeah, Danny Carey.
Wow.
Gosh, who else? Tiger Woods' wife was one of our regulars before the whole,
Dude,
thing.
you are like famous. You're famous. You're like the guy. If somebody wants some Beats headphones, Georgie Boy's gonna come calling.
He wants the enhanced edition.
Oh, okay, right.
with extra features that don't really need on headphones, but why not?
They're just a bunch of walkie-talkies everywhere.
Yeah. I'm walkie and I'm talkie.
Okay, so all right, that was fun. That was fun.
It was.
So if you'd like to ask a question and have us ramble for about half an hour about how to answer that question, then you can drop us a line at iwrencheveryday@gmail.com. That is a really good email. I'm glad you thought of it.
I don't know what that was, but it happened, and it
was supposed to be like like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But then
no,
they're like,
It's like the beginning of when you stub your toe.
like someone goes in for a hug and you just give them like a weird fist bump. I don't know.
My life is awkward and I love it.
If you want to contact me, you can do so at The Real Tavarish. That is Instagram and Twitter, Facebook.com/AskTavarish. You can tell that I'm on autopilot on this this portion of the podcast. And AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email. I read every single one, and you guys do send a lot of emails. So try sending some of those emails to the Wrench Everyday email, because
But only about Wrench Everyday stuff, not about Lambo stuff. Because
you can send us anything.
send help.
Yeah. So Andrew, where can they find you?
I can be found on Instagram at HeavyMetalFL and on Twitter at 1565. That's the word 15 and the number 65.
Oh, awesome. All right, so that is it. This is me, Tavarish, for Andrew Howell, reminding you guys to wrench every day.
Every day.